California Governor Gavin Newsom has reacted to the arrest threat issued against him on Monday by the United States, U.S. President Donald Trump over the unrest and ongoing violent protest across the streets of one of the cities in California, Los Angeles, over Trump-led government crackdown and massive raids of immigrants in the Los Angeles city, with the governor daring the president to come and arrest him, that he does not give a damn over his arrest, that he cares more about his communities, with emphasis that the situation in downtown Los Angeles is a manufactured crisis by President Donald Trump-led government. It would be recalled that riots and civil unrest by Americans broke out across Los Angeles on Friday and continued throughout the weekend into this new week to protest local raids conducted by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, with the protesters apparently overpowering and overwhelming Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, which thus appears to have prompted a strong response from President Donald Trump. Local media and videos posted online saw rioters caught on camera torching cars and throwing rocks at police vehicles, leading to numerous arrests as the federal guard worked to stamp out the chaotic gathering. Donald Trump is putting fuel on this fire. Commandeering a state's National Guard without consulting the governor of that state is illegal and immoral, Newsom wrote in an X post on Sunday. California will be taking him to court. On Monday, the California governor, Gavin Newsom, added that, "We will not stand by while Donald Trump illegally federalizes the National Guard. This is a manufactured crisis. He is creating fear and terror to take over a state militia and violate the U.S. Constitution. The illegal order he signed could allow him to send the military into any state he wishes." The California governor, Gavin Newsom, who is a Democrat while Trump is Republican, also told local media that he plans to file suit on Monday against the Donald Trump administration to roll back the National Guard deployment, which he called an illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, following Trump's move to cite a legal provision that allows him to mobilize federal service members when there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. It was gathered that more than 1,000 protesters clashed and faced off with National Guard troops in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday during the latest demonstrations against immigration raids that swept across California over the weekend, with roughly 300 National Guard members arriving in the city at the time, with President Trump saying on Monday he had authorized 2,000 members of the National Guard deployed to the troubled area. On April 16, 2025, Governor Gavin Newsom had stated via his verified social media account that Donald Trump does not have the authority to unilaterally impose the largest tax hike of our lifetime with his destructive tariffs. We're taking him to court. The Pentagon also confirmed that President Donald Trump has authorized the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops and activation of 700 Marines to the troubled Los Angeles city. Residents said that the demonstrations began outside in downtown Los Angeles on Friday after the locals became more aware that the Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE officers were carrying out raids across the city. Los Angeles Times, a Los Angeles-based news media, gave some descriptions of how some persons helped save the lives of rioters during the protest. When Cynthia Soriano, Edgar Hernandez and Cesarin Hernandez set up their aguas frescas stand with an extra gallon of milk on Sunday morning, they never imagined they'd be using it to quell the burn of tear gas hours later. The trio sells hot dogs and aguas frescas off the historic La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, next to the Church of Our Lady the Queen of the Angels. Most weekends their customers consist of churchgoers after service or a baptism. On Sunday they were protesters locked in a dramatic clash with the Los Angeles Police Department and the National Guard over a series of immigration and customs enforcement sweeps occurring across the LA. And in the process of serving them, Soriano and the Hernandez brothers ducked fireworks, hid beneath their food stand and poured surplus milk into the eyes of protesters who had inhaled tear gas. Like multiple street vendors, this trio helped nourish the city during a fraught weekend that saw more than 70 arrests, widespread vandalism and cars set ablaze. Some vendors sold hot dogs on the 110 freeway as protesters and law enforcement took to the stretch of highway on foot. Others set up fruit carts near City Hall. Community aid group Food Not Bombs DTLA distributed free plant-based meals from a bike trailer, its hand-painted sign emblazoned with a raised fist clutching a carrot. Reuters international news agency also reported that the U.S. military will temporarily deploy about 700 Marines to Los Angeles until more National Guard troops can arrive, marking another escalation in President Donald Trump's response to street protests over his aggressive immigration policies. Tensions have been rising since Trump activated the National Guard on Saturday after street protests erupted in response to immigration raids in Southern California. It is the biggest flashpoint yet in the Trump administration's aggressive efforts to deport migrants living in the country illegally. The announcement that Marines would be deployed was made on the fourth straight day of protests. Late on Monday, police began to disperse hundreds of demonstrators who gathered outside a federal detention center in downtown Los Angeles where immigrants have been held. National Guard forces had formed a human barricade to keep people out of the building. Then a phalanx of Los Angeles police moved up the street, starting to push people from the scene and firing less lethal munitions such as gas canisters. Police had used similar tactics since Friday. The LAPD said late on Monday afternoon that some protesters had started throwing objects at offices and the use of less lethal munitions had been authorized, adding in an ex post, less lethal munitions may cause pain and discomfort. U.S. Marines have been deployed domestically for major disasters such as Hurricane Katrina and the September 11, 2001 attacks, but it is extremely rare for U.S. military troops to be used for domestic policing. For now, the Trump administration was not invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow troops to directly participate in civilian law enforcement, according to a U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity.
Gavin Newsom is daring. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look. I like Gavin Newsom, he's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA?
Oh,
are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators, they're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
The crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you
I think his
suggested earlier.
primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care, they're taking up your space in schools, they're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it, and we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Homan, who has been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing. And it's like an unforced error. There was no reason for this.
Look, it's just all bizarre. If the president were to order for the governor to be arrested for no reason, I would imagine I would probably be right behind the governor and then my successor behind them. I mean, none of this really makes any sense. There's no legal framework or justification or precedent for any of this. And so again, when I think about people watching right now trying to make sense of it all, it's very difficult because there is no precedent and there is no foundation within the rule of law for any of this.
Get your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me, let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that President Vladimir Putin-led Russia government has set free first batch of Ukrainian prisoners in line with the agreement both countries reached at the last peace meeting in Istanbul, Turkey, adding that the Russia war in Ukraine is still intense at Pokrovsk area of Sumy region. In a video and written press releases on Monday, President Zelensky said, "Today, the first stage of the prisoner exchange agreed in Istanbul has begun. More stages will follow, at least, that's what was discussed with the Russian side. I thank everyone making it happen. I also held a meeting on June's international agenda. No meeting should be hollow. If it doesn't bring us closer to ending the war through diplomacy, it must help strengthen our defense, our active operations, or increase pressure on Russia. I thank our warriors for their tenacity. The most intense fighting continues in the Pokrovsk direction, in the areas of the Kursk operation, and along the border in the Sumy region. Russian tactics remain the same everywhere. Ignore losses and try to advance. But this potential isn't infinite. A certain level of casualties, and our actions, shouldn't hinder their advance. Our people are home. Ukrainians are returning home from Russian captivity. Today, an exchange began, which will continue in several stages over the coming days. Among those we are bringing back now are the wounded, the severely wounded, and those under the age of 25. The process is quite complex, with many sensitive details, and negotiations continue virtually every day. We count on the full implementation of the humanitarian agreements reached during the meeting in Istanbul. We are doing everything possible to bring back every single person. We are working toward this at every level. We must bring home everyone who remains in captivity. I thank everyone who is helping. Euronews media that also monitored the prisoners swap reported that the Ukraine and Russia have started a new prisoners of war exchange, following the agreement reached at the second round of direct talks in Istanbul last Monday. Kyiv and Moscow agreed that the exchange would include young soldiers under 25 years old and those severely ill. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the return of the first group of Russian prisoners of war, POWs as well, without providing details on the swapped soldiers. Ukraine's coordination headquarters for the treatment of prisoners of war said that the first group of released prisoners includes personnel from Ukraine's Navy, Ground Forces, Air Force, National Guard, Border Guard Service, Territorial Defense, and Special Transport Service. Among those returned on Monday are the defenders of Mariupol, who have spent over 3 years in Russian captivity. Most of those returned were captured in the first days of Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, Ukraine's Ombudsman Dmytro Lubinets said. The sides have also agreed to exchange the bodies of the fallen service people. On Sunday, Russia accused Ukraine of postponing the swap and failing to respect the agreement. Moscow said that the trains carrying the bodies of Ukrainian soldiers were due to depart towards the Ukrainian border, accusing Kyiv of not collecting them. Russia's Lieutenant General Alexander Zorin told the state-run TASS news agency the transfer of more than 6,000 Ukrainian bodies had been agreed during the talks in Turkey. Kyiv categorically denied the accusations. Kirilo Budanov, the head of Ukrainian Defense SE intelligence, said that Ukraine was strictly adhering to the agreements reached at the second round of talks in Istanbul. Budanov stated that the start of repatriation measures was scheduled to take place next week, which he claims the Russian side informed him of a few days ago. In his Sunday address, Zelensky accused Russia of playing a dirty political and information game on the agreed power exchange. Kyiv says it has brought back over 5,000 prisoners of war in a series of exchanges since March. Ukraine continues to offer Russia an all-for-all swap, a proposal Moscow has so far rejected. Edo State Commissioner of Police, Monday Agbonika, has announced the commencement of house-to-house arrest of people suspected or identified as members of a secret cult group in the south-south geopolitical state of Nigeria. The Commissioner of Police, through the statement issued by the Edo State Police Command spokesperson, Moses Yamu a few days ago, said that 28 persons were recently arrested during a raid in the state early this month, and 19 of them were implicated as members of secret cult group and charged to court after what the state police command described as professional screening. In the statement, the police said, the Edo State Command has sustained its fight against crime through visibility policing, community engagements and sustained raids of criminal hideouts in the state. On the 4th of June 2025 between 1600 hours and 2200 hours, operatives of the command carried out raids of criminal hideouts within Benin City. During the raids, 28 persons were arrested and professionally screened, where 19 of them found implicated were charged to court. In continuation of its fight against cultism, the command has commenced the house-to-house arrests of identified cult members in the state to ensure that cultism is either eliminated or brought to its barest minimum. 3 suspects who were arrested from various locations have confessed to being members of the IEA and AEA confraternities respectively. They have been arraigned before the court accordingly. On this note, CP Monday Agbonika, FDC expresses confidence that the general public would have no fear of crimes, as he warned all cult members to either denounce cultism and turn a new leaf, relocate from the state, or face the full wrath of the law as contained in the Edo State Secret Cult and other related activities prohibition law. The command can be reached on the following lines: Control Room 08037646272, 08077773721, Public Complaints Bureau, PCB, 081509999335, Complaints Response Unit, CRU, 081003899992. Meanwhile, the Edo State Commissioner of Police, CP Monday Agbonika, FDC, on the 28th of May 2025 summoned all area commanders, PMF commanders, DPOs, tactical team commanders etc. for a briefing at the police officers' mess, Benin City. During the briefing, the Commissioner of Police commended the officers for not relenting in the discharge of the duties, as he attributed the successes recorded so far to their relentless efforts. On the issue of unprofessional conduct, the CP warned all officers to lecture their men against acts unbecoming of police officers, noting that zero tolerance for unprofessionalism must be maintained. On this note, the command assures the public that it will continue to improve its service delivery with utmost professionalism, Moses Yamu stated in a press release. We had reported that the Edo State Governor, Monday Okpebholo, has called for more stakeholders' supports and actions towards ending secret cult-related killings and other organized violent crimes in the state, stating that the aged-long secret cult war in the south state of Nigeria has driven away a lot of investors, and as such, Edo State has been at a loss of $1 billion every year, with statistics, according to the governor, showing that the natives of Edo State top the list of the highest diaspora remittances in Nigeria, but over 95% of the natives divert the funds to other states to avoid secret cult violence in the state, also known as the heartbeat of the nation. We had reported that the Edo State government, led by Governor Monday Okpebholo, has issued an executive order blacklisting a government-registered acclaimed sociocultural organization, the Neo-Black Movement, NBM, as a violent organization among those responsible for violent crimes of high rates of secret cult-related homicide killings in the state, and in a swift reaction, the president of the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, NBM, Olusegun Osei-Kakor, while speaking with a panel of presenters at Arise News Television during the TV program, accused the governor, Monday Okpebholo, of allegedly using members of the Black Axe confraternity during his election, adding that the governor never consulted with them to know if members of Black Axe confraternity are also members of the Neo-Black Movement, saying, the governor is now attacking NBM because of Black Axe, stressing that Black Axe confraternity is a criminal organization, insisting that members of the confraternity are never members of the NBM, and shortly after the NBM president's statement, large group of youths in Edo State led a solidarity protest march to the Edo State Government House in Benin City to express their support and willingness to defend the government policies and actions to stop the massive destructions of lives and creation of young widows and high rates of fatherless children in the state due to secret cult activities. This, assessments of some of the pro-government policy protesters indicated that some of them are people who may have identified themselves in the past as members of the neo-black movement, and they also appeared to be people very loyal to one of the prominent leaders of the NBM, Anthony Arden aka Tony Kabaka, who trend when he was interviewed about the activities of the NBM in a BBC documentary published by the British Broadcasting Service some years back. We had report that, in apparent anger, Edo State government under the leadership of Governor Monday Okpebholo has issued a serious warning with a strong message sent to the president of the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, NBM, Olusegun Osayi-Kukor, that the Edo State government has started consultations to enable it take more appropriate legal action against the Neo-Black movement, saying, the international headquarters or secretariat of the movement situated at Amagba area in Benin City that was demolished last month by the state government, has been an enclave used for planning and execution of secret cult-related killings by members of the Neo-Black movement. The governor also referred to and described as Black Axe secret cult, probably expressing more anger that the leadership and members of the Neo-Black movement had the courage to come out publicly to identify themselves with the demolished building. The governor said they will be made to face prosecution. The national president of the Neo-Black movement, Olusegun Osayi-Kukor, while speaking in reaction to the demolished building on a Rise News TV program, said, the movement is not Black Axe, emphasizing that Black Axe is a criminal organization while the Neo-Black movement is a social cultural organization that promote and engage in humanitarian services. It would be recalled that we had reported that the Edo State Police Command of Nigeria Police Force has confirmed the arrest of 95 persons in connection with the killing of more than 15 people between April 25, 2025 and now in the renewed deadly and bloody apparent supremacy secret cult war in the state among members of the Black Axe Confraternity aka AEA, Maphite Confraternity aka Great Men and Aye Confraternity aka Elids, which started with the killing of a physiotherapist, simply identified as Alex, and another individual at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBTH Back Gate, Ugbowo, in Benin, with the Edo State government led by Governor Monday Okpebholo launching a retaliatory war against businesses and individuals allegedly aiding secret cult killings in the state, thus, sealed off Eterno Hotel, planned to demolish the hotel owned by People's Democratic Party, PDP chieftain, Honorable Matthew Idiakamwin, who was the Director General of ASUAN, Ogie campaign organization in the last governorship election in the state, on the ground that a particular secret cult group members gathered at the Eterno Hotel to plan their recent killings in the state. And in addition, the Edo State governor also sealed off and marked a residential building for demolition also owned by a PDP chieftain, Francis Enegbeneke.
We started by raiding cultists in their known hideouts. Then we started by checking of the roads to see whether we can discourage the activities of cultists. But now we have gone a step further. We are now going after them in their homes. We get their names, we have their names. So this is a message to all cultists that think they can hibernate, they can hide in their father's houses or wherever within Benin City or in the hinterlands, that we are coming after them. We have their names, we have their...
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.